Good evening, everybody, and welcome back. I am trying a new method of recording, so I don't know how this is going to turn out. Please let me know if you think it is better than the videos I've had in the past or not as good. I'm recording on a new camera, so I will get into that a little bit more in a little bit. So anyways, let's get started. It's been exactly a week since I last saw y'all. We had our family reunion. And then it's been back to work and back to the grind. And StitchCon is any minute now. Like seriously, it's my last night off before I leave for Cincinnati, and I work the next 5 days straight, 5 or 6. I don't even know at this point. So hecticness ensues. When I last saw you, it was Wednesday night. It was my last night off for last week, and I was going back to work on Thursday night before reunion. Now, before I left to go, I really hope the camera doesn't fall. I did get my May fabric of the month, I believe, for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and show that to you. I have opened it before, but those bags are sticky. This is Dryad on 28 count Lugana from Under the Sea Fabrics. And I'm afraid my light's going to wash it out. Now you can see it pretty good. It makes the purple a little more vibrant, or the pink a little more vibrant than it is, but you can see that it's got some browns and some green and some pink in there. Very nice soft color. So, what? Somebody wants to come say hi. He's being very needy right now. He wants Mama to go to bed. Can you say hi, Rogue? Oh, you want to play, huh? You say hi? You say hi. Oh, that like washes you out. Okay, you're too playful. Go play. Oh, no, not with that. He's playing with the lights power cord. Okay, so that was my only haul or anything like that this week. So that night I worked on, of course, my focus piece, but I've worked on it several times, so I'm going to wait until it'll be the last one I show. And then after I got my stitches in, and I normally have a calendar to show you, like, where's last month's? Like this. And this is how I work on my focus piece. I did have some questions about this. As you can see here in the corner, the Ultimate Cross Stitch Group, the stitch along is called Every Day Counts. So really your goal is to get this by the end of the month, but they've broken it down in the calendar in case you want to do daily stitching, and that's what I decided to do. I take my focus piece, and I work on it every day for the amount of stitches that's on this calendar. If I get behind, like tonight I haven't gotten to stitch at all, I will catch up, but I still only do the stitches that are on here. I'll get into that a little more in a minute. I printed out the one for June. I had it in my truck to get the holes punched in it to go in here, and my husband threw it away, so I have to reprint that out, but I've been keeping up with it anyway. So then after I worked on my focus piece for that night, I worked on Christmas Rules. This is by Lizzie Kate. It was on 32 count linen in gold, well, with gold sparkles in it. Christmas in Williamsburg. I do know that you can request this color from her still, as I had a friend do it. And again, it's going to take me a little time to adjust to showing you on the new camera. camera. So let me hold it up a little bit so I can get really close. Not really good at this because that light is also a factor. Okay. So I almost finished Honor Traditions, but I ran out of, which way? This color, this border, and I guess that was it. I just ran out of the border color for Honor Traditions, and I had had somebody else take me to work that night so that my husband could pick me up and we could leave straight from there to our family reunion. So I didn't have my big box of threads with me to go and adjust. And then, so I started on, maybe if I fold it like that I can actually manage it. I started on Give Santa Milk and Cookies. I got the cookie finished and I ran out of this green. The next, something that isn't this green, is way over here, and I wasn't going to count all that way and risk making a mistake. So that was my stopping point on Christmas rules. Whew, this is going to take some getting used to. I've switched cameras for two reasons. One, the quality. It's supposed to be a much better quality video, and two, so that it wasn't like right up in my face, because my iPad kind of, once you turned it to video mode, it kind of just zoomed in. But it doesn't, it's doing a mirror reflection, so like when I move this way on the camera, it moves this way. Anyways, so it's taking some getting used to. Also the lighting, it's a little more sensitive to the lighting than my iPad is, so I have my light pointed at me and it's dang near blinding me. And that's why it's the camera's having to adjust for the fact that that lighting is like that. See, it takes a second to adjust. So just so you know, that's what's going on. Go ahead and explain. My husband has been discussing with me, because I've gotten into making these videos every week and it's become, you know, important that I'm going to have enough people viewing to make sure the quality is really good. And so he discussed getting a GoPro camera. Also, for the fact that like when I go to the stitching retreats, maybe I can just like set it there and let it record, instead of, you know, having my phone out and having people watch me record myself, because that's what I'm so self-conscious about. We decided to go ahead and get it this last weekend because we were going to our family reunion. We figured we could get some cute videos there, and it's waterproof. So, and of course this is the first year that I've gone, and I didn't go to the lake once. So, but he did. He took some, they went out on a boat and went fishing, and he took some video there. So, I do have some video for you that will be at the end, from our family reunion. Let me just go ahead and go into that before I continue with my whips, because it seems to be what I'm going to talk about. So I worked on this, and then my husband came and picked me up from work. We drove straight from work, no sleep, to reunion. It's about 3 hours away. Of course, we stopped and bought a GoPro and some other stuff on the way. So when we got there, we just kind of relaxed and got to talking to family, and we've got some pictures of everybody, which I don't know how many of the pictures I'll put up, because that's everybody else's personal photograph, but I'll put a few of like a group setting. So that was Friday night. We did the fish fry. It was just a lot of sitting back and relaxing. My daughter learned to play horseshoes this year and was really good at it. Made 3 ringers in her first game. Unfortunately, one of those set them back. They had to start over, and we eventually had to call the game because it was too dark. but it was a really good game anyway. It was her and her dad against me and her uncle, so it was pretty good. And then Saturday morning we got up. We have a traditional breakfast called tater rag that my father-in-law makes, and I can make it here at the house. I can go to his house and have him make it, but it just does not taste the same as when we go camping and it's cooked out on, you know, an open fire and that sort of thing. So everybody had a nice breakfast. Then we did a kids auction. So we have a bunch of, everybody brings a toy or two, and the kids each get $5, and then they get to bid each other up, and whoever is the highest bidder or bids their entire $5 first gets to take the toy. Sometimes they get more than one. So that was a lot of fun. We had like big water guns, there was water balloons, there was my son, soon as the bidding started on a Nerf gun, was like $5 because they're his favorite thing in the entire world. He probably already even has that one. Didn't matter. So that was a lot of fun. I may have a small clip of it. If so, it'll be at the end of this video. Can't remember if I did or not. Then, you know, we all go about our business. We swim in the lake. We chat with family, play horseshoes, play washers, go fishing, just enjoy the day with the family that came. And then in the evening time, just before we eat, or right around the time that we eat, and we always have, the cat is so feisty tonight. We always have brisket on Saturday night. And so before that, we have a raffle. Now, you enter the raffle throughout the weekend. It's $5 a ticket, and this year they had 3 quilts to give away. One made by each of my husband's aunts, because, is that right? Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. My aunt. So, sorry, I had a. This is my husband's father's side of the family. He has 3 siblings, a sister and 2 brothers. So it is the sister and the wives of the 2 brothers, one of which recently passed away. So they each made a quilt, raffled them off. I bought 1 ticket. I know some people bought up to 5 and 6 tickets. I bought 1, and I won one of the quilts. So I'm going to show that to you. If I can get it off my daughter, because she's asleep. Whoops. So, here is, and it was the one I wanted out of the 3. And it's really big, so I'm not going to be able to show you it all. Because, ouch. Apparently there's still a pin in it. Okay. And it keeps going. And this, it has a really soft back. I love it. Like I said, out of the 3, it was the one I wanted, so I was really excited that I won it. And I'm going to have to find something to get that needle out. Okay. She got in a hurry doing the binding because it was like 2 days before reunion and she had to get it done. So I won that in the raffle, and then we did an auction. The auction is where I entered Monopoly. There were several other things entered, but I'm really excited because Monopoly went for $150. It was the biggest ticket item that we sold this reunion. So, and I know for sure I have a clip of that at the end. So I was really excited about that. And then the person who won it wanted me to sign the back, and I was very excited. It meant a lot, and I can't wait to see what I come up with for next year. So I don't know that it'll be anything that big again, but it will definitely be something. So again, clip of that at the end. Then, you know, we have dinner. We talk about next year's reunion. It will be at the very end of June. We ended up making almost $700 between the kids raffle, the kids auction, our auction, and the raffle for the quilts. So I think that's amazing considering we had like 35 people show up this year. It was one of our smallest in a long time, because for reasons I'm not going into all that, but anyway, so that was reunion, and I was really excited to share that with y'all. So of course I didn't do any stitching. It was way too hot. You know, there was dirt and bugs, and even just the idea of holding fabric made me start sweating profusely. So I did not do any stitching. When we came back on Sunday, we were off. I swear, as soon as I walked through the door, I laid down. I slept for about 3 hours, and then I got up, I did some stuff, and we still went to bed, you know, a few hours later to get ready for the next day. My first day back at work, the first half of the night till midnight, I started playing catch up on my focus piece, which is Quotes to Live By. And then I pulled out, okay, so with us having just gotten back from reunion, I hadn't fully unpacked the truck. I was just kind of grabbing stuff and running out the door. There's another reason for this. Okay, we'll get to that in just a second. We got up actually kind of early, and we were running out the door to attempt to do something before work. So all I had with me was what I had packed in the hopes that I would get to stitch at reunion. So all I had with me was To-Do List by Lizzie Kate. So that is what I worked on when after I got caught up on, well, at midnight. I tried catching up until midnight. Once midnight hit, I gotten 3 days done. I put Quotes to Live By away. I pulled out this for the rest of the night. And I was extremely tired because we had gotten up at 10:30 that morning, did some stuff before work, which I'll get to in a second, and then went to work, and of course, you know, I worked 12 hours there, so I was just really exhausted, so stitching was at a minimum. But I do have this. Again, this is my To-Do List by Lizzie Kate. It's on 28 count even weave by MCG Textiles that I dyed pink and purple. So that's that. Oh, it'll look like this. There we go. I believe I'm using all called for DMC. They actually call for weeks dye works, but they give you the DMC conversion. That's what I'm doing. So we had gotten up early that day. We went to bed maybe around 2:30. We were just too tired, could not stay awake, went to bed. My son woke me up at like 10:30, asking a question, and at that point me and my husband were awake, and we were like, okay, we can't go back to sleep. So we took the kids to their grandparents, which is who they stay with while we're at work, and we headed into Midland, Odessa. It's two towns, they're really close to each other. We call them Midland, Odessa. So we went to look at motorcycles because my husband has always wanted one. Now, when he was younger, he wanted a street bike. There are other names for it, but you know, whatever. Anyway, he has, of course, grown up. He has children now, so he doesn't feel like that is the wisest choice. So he decided on a cruiser. He picked out a Honda Shadow Phantom, and we got approved. He now owns a motorcycle. And I said, Happy Father's Day, because that is coming up in just a few days. He's very excited. I'm very excited for him. So that's what we did before we went to work. Okay, I'm getting thirsty. And despite the fact that I am a grown adult, I have a juice box. Tonight, I have a juice box. Okay. That cat can be so stinky sometimes. Okay. So that took me through Monday night. So then last night, I spent the rest of the night playing catch up on Quotes to Live By. Again, in just a minute. I think I'm only, well, if you include tonight, I'm 2 days behind again. But I had almost completely caught up. No, I take that back. I did get caught up last night completely before midnight. So now I'm just behind tonight. Okay, so Quotes until midnight, I distracted myself. Then from midnight till 6 a.m. or 5 a.m.-ish, that's not it, I worked on my mini treasure hunt bookshelf. It's a Heaven and Earth design by Amy Stewart. And I'm working on page 2. So this is page 1. I've had it done for a while. There we go. And I'm working on page 2. I got 4 blocks done, essentially. It wasn't 4 complete blocks because this block over here is not 100 stitches. It's only like 70 or 80. But I got 1 done down here and then 3 up here. And I'm going to fold this in half. Oops, wrong way. So that I can get it up close and you can see all that Krynic up there. But we're getting it done. So it is moving along nicely. It was one of those nights where it felt like it took forever, but I was kind of glad because I was getting so many stitches done. It was kind of awesome. Okay, so now quotes. Now, I've only been working on this 1 block so far this month. I will, of course, do more before do another one before the end of the month, but it's a pretty big block. So. I had something else to say about this. Let me show it to you first. You know, something else I noticed about this camera is it's not seeing through the fabric quite so bad. Okay. Oh, so let's say, for example, today's stitching is 100 stitches. I will do 100 stitches and then, or 110, whatever, around close to that, always over. Then I will do 1 strand of back stitch, but I don't use the back, I use it in my counting for my record books. I do not use it as towards the calendar because I want to get as much stitching done as possible with that calendar, and back stitching can count up really fast. And I had a question about this the other day, so I do want to explain the way I do it, because I know some of the groups count differently. In my honest opinion, because this is cross stitch and a cross is an X, you have basically 2 back stitches crossing across each other. So back stitch this way and a back stitch this way, that makes an X. I count that as 1. So when I'm back stitching, I can backstitch several different ways. I don't always just go over, you know, 1 square, or sometimes I'll go 3 or 4. But I count each square on the pattern as half. So I have to do at least 2 in order for it to count as 1 stitch. And the way I do that is when I go back and mark my pattern, I will go across 2 and count it as 1, across 2 and count it as 2, and all the way around. But then if I'm counting across, I just need to mark 1 to count as 1. And when I'm doing my counting, I do it based on the pattern, not necessarily based on my stitching. So this means if my stitching gets off a little bit, sometimes there's a few stitches that do not count. But it's my most accurate way of working it. So I will, let's say, stitch an entire strand if it's a solid block and I don't have to do a lot of counting. I'll stitch all that I can of that strand. Then when I go back to highlight my pattern on my iPad, I will count, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, I did 40 stitches. Cross stitches count as 1. Each back stitch is a half, so you need, so every 2 back stitches equals 1. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense in my head, but sometimes I feel like the things coming out of my mouth aren't as clear as what's going on in my head. I was actually talking to a lady. I'm so sorry. The screen name wasn't her actual name, and therefore I don't remember it. But I was talking to her on Instagram, and she was asking about my parking. And I'll try to explain this here just real briefly. When I park, like what I do here, I stitch all I can of the color in a 10 by 10 block, and then I find the next square where I would use that color in the next 10 by 10 block. I pull it through the top right hand corner because that's where I start my stitch, and I pull it out and I just let it hang until I get to that box. And I was trying to explain this to her via a comment on Instagram, and I didn't really feel like I did a good job. And I said, I hope you understand. She's like, not really. I said, well, it's easier to do than it is to explain. So I directed her to some YouTube videos that I watched when I learned how to park. So, that was a tangent. I can't quite remember why I got on. So anyway, it's gonna make it a little complicated because I'm almost done with this block. I just have this stuff down here, and then I'm going to actually, I guess I'm gonna come over here. Yeah, because I have this block done. I'll work on this block next because I'm gonna need to come back and do back stitching after every set that I do on here. So it's gonna get a little confusing there for a minute, but it shouldn't be too bad. So I think that is everything. Like I said, I do have a few videos and or photographs that I will be trying to add to the end of this. I don't know how editing's gonna go now that I'm using the GoPro instead of using the iPad. So possible lots of changes here, and we'll see how it goes this week and see if this is going to be a better option for me next week. I was planning on doing a Stitch With Me video tonight, but because I really think the GoPro will be interesting in that case, but I didn't get around to it, so that will come in the future. I will have one more video before StitchCon, because, well, hopefully I'll try my best, because I leave next Wednesday and I normally film on Wednesday nights. I am going, because I have to, Wednesday I am driving from here to my mother's house. She lives just north of Dallas. Thursday morning she will be driving me to the airport. I fly into Cincinnati. I should get there roughly about 1 o'clock, and then catch the shuttle with Nicole Buckeye Stitcher to StitchCon. And then I'll be there until Sunday when I fly back. So I'm going to try my best to actually take video this time. It's hard. It's hard when you're an introvert. It's hard when you are constantly wondering what people think of you, and is somebody staring? Do I look stupid? And I know what the answers to those questions should be, but that doesn't always make my brain believe it. Okay, so I will do my best, and that's it. I hope y'all all have a great stitchy week, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye. Hey there. Okay, once again, I am traveling. We're going to our family reunion, and so I had to get my traveling drink. So we're going to be out at the lake for a couple days, and I'm hoping to get some video. We'll see. So I'll see y'all later.
Hey, you said 60. You said 60.
Go Banner.
Right here, 65. $65. Monopoly board. Homemade crochet monopoly board. And I hope she wants to be. Homemade cross stitch monopoly board. Do I hear? What are we at?
60.
Do I hear 60?
Oh, you already got 60.
Do I hear 65? $65. Homemade cross stitch. $65. Where's that? Do I hear 70?
Yeah, I said 65.
65, I know it's
$7. Do I hear 75? 75. $75. I hear 80. $80.
Hey, you get
Holy shit. $100. I hear over 100.
$100. I hear over 100.
And one. $101. Huh? 150. Do I hear more?
I gotta go check out the car.
Hey, Kenny, shit just got real.
I don't know what to do.
Hey, who's your uncle? He's born in the Tony. He's born in the Tony.
150. Do I hear 155? 155. Anybody? 150 going once. 150 going twice. So.
Woo!